What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This gonna be Claws season 2, episode 9. Now next week is the finale, so they only had 10 episodes this season. I hope next season they expand it and give us a little bit more, because this was, I thought this was a good season. It's a little crazy. It has some craziness going on in there, but it's supposed to be campy. You know what I mean? I think they revved up the campiness this episode. I mean this season. Like for example, this episode, the way the episode started, for a moment I wasn't sure if it was a dream or if it was real, because we start off with Desna doing target practice with Roller helping her out, and then they get to talking all sexy and in each other's face and get to kissing, and next thing you know they having sex right there on the firing range. And I was like, is this real? Like, is Desna dreaming this, or is Roller dreaming it, or is it real? But it was real. And Desna's like, look, I gotta go get ready for this fake wedding. That's something I didn't say in my review last week. I apologize to you guys, because it's the second time I feel like something important in my review. When Desna went to Zlata at the end of the episode, and she was negotiating what she was going to do, and she told him, she told Zlata, look, I'm going to go through with this fake wedding, and I'm going to sign over, he going to die, I'm going to inherit everything, I'm going to give it to you, and I'm out. And that's when they were negotiating how many clinics and all of that. And Desna was like, look, because, at the end of the day, Desna, all this time, Desna's just been trying to get out. Like, she keeps finding herself dig deeper in, but she's really just been trying to get out. So, then we see Dean and Virginia. And Dean is tripping out there at some little no-tell motel. It's noises and stuff. And y'all know Dean can't do all that with the noises. And he's rocking back and forth in the bed. And he wakes Virginia up, and he's like, I don't like this place. I can't do it, And Virginia was like, look, will sex calm you down? And he was like, we could try it. So they get to start having sex, and he looks up and he sees mold. Y'all know how Dean is about his mold. So he's freaking out about the mold. Virginia's like, look, just focus on me. Just look at me. She's trying to calm him down. He looked back up at the mold, then there's a roach. And he really flips out then. I would have flipped the fuck out too, okay? So, but we see that he made a decision to leave, but it's just, things ain't really going too well with where they had to end up living, basically. Um, Polly. Polly wakes up. Remember, she put Ken out, Dr. Ken. She found out he was the one wearing the wire. She put him out. And, she woke up thinking he was laying next to her. So she has to remember, oh, no, that's right, he ain't here. She gets up looking for Marnie. Goes in Marnie's room. Her room's all clean. The bed made all nice and neat. She had fixed her room up real nice. And Marnie had left a note basically saying, I appreciate all that you did for me, but I want to go be with my mother. Like, she's changed, and I want to live with her. And so, Polly starts losing it. Like, she's hyperventilating. She's looking for an inhaler. She's having an asthma attack. Like, she is totally losing it. She finds it. She tries to call Marnie, gets the voicemail. She finds her inhaler. She kind of calms herself down. Then there's a knock at the door. She opens the door, and it's her sister. Remember the twin sister that we found out about, but we knew there was a story, but we didn't know what the story was. So there's her twin sister there, and Polly is like, this is just not a good time for you to be showing up at my door. And she said, look, if I had called, you wouldn't have let me come. She was like, let me come and we need to talk. And Polly is like, no, we're not doing this. No, we're not talking. And she was like, look, I came here straight from the airport. I really want to talk to you. I really need to see you. And she said, no, we're not doing this. So she closed the door. She said, look, I'm going to be here. I ain't going nowhere. So, close the door on her and all this other stuff. They probably goes to the shop, and she's telling Desna, she's telling Desna that her and Kim broke up and that Marnie left. She didn't tell her about the sister. She didn't tell her she saw her sister, that sister's there. But she was like, so she's all upset and she's crying and everything. Dean comes in, and, Dean is hilarious. What's his name? Pierre something. If he hasn't won an Emmy, he need to win an Emmy, because he is hilarious. So, Dean is hilarious. If he hasn't won an Emmy, he need to win an Emmy, because he is hilarious. So, he is hilarious. So, Dean is hilarious. If he hasn't won an Emmy, he need to win an Emmy, because he is hilarious. So, Virginia says, Dean, are you okay? I thought you were going to work. He was like, I have to be at work. He was like, yeah, I don't have to be at work till another hour, but I didn't want to stay at that place by myself. And Desmond was like, look, Dean, you can move back home. He was like, no, because of your poor life choices, I can no longer stay at that house. I was like, so he says, Polly, what's wrong? Why are you upset? He said, is it because I didn't get that cherry pop right last night? And they were like, Dean, it's not the cherry pop. Polly's upset about something else. And Dean was like, well, it really wasn't that bad. I can show you. And he get ready to take his clothes. Desmond's like, no, I don't need you to show me because you still my brother. It's bad enough I went to your strip show debut. I don't need to see all the other stuff too. So they getting ready to go dress shopping. And Polly says, look, I'll stay back here. Y'all go ahead and go without me. I'll hang back here. She goes out to take the trash. Her sister's out in the alley, in some old ass car. Her sister's in the alley. And Polly's like, what are you doing here? She was like, yeah, I decided I would come here, you got to talk to me. Like, I'm not going anywhere until we talk. And Polly is like, no. And that's when she tells everybody, y'all go ahead and go to the dress store. I'll just stay back here and hold down the fort. Dr. Ken, so her sister, she look up and their sister's at the door. As soon as they leave, her sister's at the door. So she lets the sister in. And the sister is talking and Dr. Ken calls. Like, it's all this stuff going on. Dr. Ken calls and she's telling him, look, don't call me no more. It's over. And her sister is like, oh, is that the boyfriend? She was like, ex-boyfriend. She was like, She was like, and then Polly said something about, I guess you want to try to steal him from me too, or something to that effect. So that lets you know there was some sort of conflict over a boy, right? Or a man or whatever. They go to the dress shop. And at first, Desna is like, look, let's just get in here. Let me find the cheapest thing that is in my size and let's get the hell out of here. And they were like, why? You got his black card. Like, let's do it up. And Jim was like, look, when is the next time you going? She said, after this is over with, it's back to Walmart, boo. When the next time we going to have an Amex black card? Let's get this party started. Like, let's do it. Because the sales associate was like, the 1%er dresses are in the back. So, so Desmond pulls out the black card and says, yeah, we want to see the 1% dresses. So they getting ready to go in the back and get the party started. And who come rolling up in the bridal shop? The mama. Dr. Haitian's mama. And she was like, I want to know what happened to the dress that I bought you. Y'all remember she burned it. I don't know what she ever told her, but next thing you know, they partying and dancing. They all got on their little outfits. And, my girl Quiet Ann, she always come clean. Got a nice suit with the fedora. And, of course, Virginia, she got on some old booty pop dress, fitted. Jen's got a really pretty emerald green gown on, and Desna ass got on a daggone sequin jumpsuit. Honey, now she look good. But y'all know good and daggone well that mama wasn't going to let her walk down the aisle in no jumpsuit. Desna was like, I think I look good. Like, this is me. This is what I would like to wear. And the mama was like, stop all this bullshit and their foolishness and get over there and try on one of them gowns that I want you to wear. So before all of this was going on, Bryce has been released from the hospital, and him and Jen are still planning on moving. He done found a house. He done found a beauty supplies. A nail salon that's hiring. It's near a good school district, and they're going to move to Tampa. And, Bryce has got it going. He said, look, all we got to do is get approved for this loan. We're going to go down to the bank and get approved for this loan. No big deal. Now, when he said that, I was thinking, I don't know who going to approve y'all for no, because it was a really nice house. Because Jim was like, can we even afford this house? And he was like, don't worry about it. We going to get the loan. We going to be good. And I'm like, okay then. I don't know what loan y'all going to get, but all right. So Uncle Daddy, he done hooked up with the family, the family from up north, and, well, not up north, but further north than Florida. Rolla's a little jealous. Rolla is not feeling the family member because Uncle Daddy and old boy, they all buddy, and they all coming up with all these plans on how they're going to expand the business and so forth and so on. So they decide they want to do rehab clinics. So on top of the fact they're gonna be selling the pills, now they want to do the little rehab clinic scam, and they were like, basically, we'll be making money coming and going. So Roller was like, you know what? I got a perfect location where we can rent a space. They get to the spot, and it's a nice little location until they start hearing kids' voices. Come to find out, they a block from a school. You can't have no rehab clinic a block from a school. So Roller's all mad because, basically that was his big idea. He thought he'd come up with the perfect place, and it's a bust. So he kind of in his feelings or whatever. Back at the salon, Polly is now, she's talking to her sister, and she's doing her sister's nails, and they're actually having a conversation. And, she was like, so have you talked to, they're actually kind of having a decent conversation. She's like, so how was jail? She was like, how did you know? She said, well, none of us believed that you were actually in Monte Carlo, and it just didn't take a lot for us to figure out where you were. And we just went along with the lie. We didn't want to call you out. So Polly was like, yeah, all right then. So then she says, have you talked to mom and dad? And Polly was like, no. And they started, she gets mad about, oh, well, I guess you're just going to keep going back and forth and exchanging, Christmas cards every year and just, pretend like everything is all hunky-dory instead of dealing with the problem. So they kind of go back and forth. And then Polly ends up, basically saying, okay, stop, bye, you got to go, get out. She was like, I thought we were talking. I thought we were getting along, but when they got to the parents, she shut that shit down. So there's some sort of connection with the parents, but she shut it down when it got to the parents. So then we see back at the dress shop, Desna tries on, the traditional wedding gown, and Jen gets all emotional and stuff, and Desmond's like, look, this is a fake marriage. We are not getting ready to sit here and cry over a fake marriage. Like, we're not going to, well, I'll come back. And, she says, and Jen said, no, it's not about the fake marriage. She was like, look, it's going to happen one day, and you're going to make a beautiful bride. Like, it may not be him, it may not be now, but it's going to happen. And she said, look, just go along. Just wear the damn dress. Like, it's not that deep. So she shows her to the mama, and the mama's like, that's perfect. That's the dress. Gorgeous, right? So they got the dress working out. Now, going back to Polly, something I missed. Something important. When Polly was putting her sister out the salon, a customer came in. My eye is still watering, y'all. I don't know what it is. A customer came in wanting to get her nails done. And Polly says, look, I got a client right now. I can't help you. And she was like, okay, fine. She was like, the Vietnamese, they cheaper anyway. And that's the first glimpse that we see that Polly's talking to herself. Because there's nobody in the shop. Like, they show that, like, I guess they showed a view from the other lady who came in to get her nails done. And there's nobody in the shop but Polly. So that's our first glimpse that her sister really isn't real, that Polly is having this whole conversation with her sister and with a figment of her imagination. Which is important. So then we see, next thing you know, Polly walks out the store. She's walking down the little strip mall, and she's talking to her sister, telling her sister, leave her alone, go away. And now they're really showing us Polly's talking to herself. There is nobody there. Polly is talking to herself. Dr. Ken comes up, and he's all apologetic, and he wants to apologize. And she's like, I can't do this right now. Don't you see? I'm in the middle of something. And he's like, what you talking about? Like, she's talking behind him, but it almost looks like she's talking to him. So at first, she thinks he's having a conversation with him. Then come to find out, she's not. She's having a conversation with somebody else. And Dr. Ken is like, yo, what is going on? What is wrong with you? Virginia pulls up at the same time. And then Desna and all them show up. And Polly, she breaks down. She's like, look, she tells Desna, she said, Desna, I need to go to the hospital. She said, it's happening again. So that lets you know this isn't the first time this has happened, and that Desna is very familiar with this with Polly. And so, they go to take Polly to the hospital. Dr. Ken and the whole crew, they take Polly to the hospital. Meantime, in between time, before we get to the breakdown, Desna is meeting up with Dr. Haitian, and they're doing cake tastings and doing all this other stuff for the wedding. And the hotel where they're having the wedding, Desna said, she said, we're doing too much. We're spending too much money. This is too elaborate. Because I guess in her mind, it's like, this ain't even no real damn marriage. We're spending a lot of money. She said, this is a beautiful hotel. I'm surprised they even had space available. And he was like, don't worry about, like, I got the hotel. And Desmond was like, wait a minute. Does he own this hotel? So she calls Zlata and she's like, look, does he own some real estate? And Zlata's like, yeah, he got a couple of properties. She said, what does he own? So Zlata tells her, look, he owns this, he owns this, he owns that. Desmond was like, She said, she's thinking, you see her wheels are turning like, wait a minute, I think he owns more than what she think he owns. So then Zlata is trying to make a deal with Desmond to say, look, we don't have to end our partnership. We could still be cool. Like, this doesn't have to end just because, with Dr. Haitian. She said, you go ahead and marry him, and when you after we get all we kill him, we get him out the picture. Let's just keep working together. Why end a good deal? But Desna's like, nope, I'm out. Like, I don't want to do it. And Zlata's like, come on, girlfriend, think about it. Come on, girlfriend. I don't really think she's giving her an option. I think she's telling her what's going to happen. So we're going to see how that works out. So Jen and Bryce go to the bank. The bank denies them. Surprise, surprise. They give the bank lady their whole little song and dance, their sob story, talking about how much they done been through in their marriage and what has happened in the affair, and he was shot by the Russian mafia, how he's supposed to be dead, and like all these things. And the lady is like, oh my gosh, that is so terrible. And you're right, you deserve some happiness. Like, it looked like she's crying and stuff, and she said, I'm up to my neck in student loans. Like, I really know how it feels. I understand how it feels. And you just think that she said, you know what? The Sun Bank of Florida still denies your application. I said, you know what, bitch? See, I probably would have had to fight her after that. That was real disrespectful. But, and she offers, so the first time she offered them a lollipop. This time she said, take a pen. So they have these little pink flamingo pens. So he takes one. And next thing you know, Jen grabs a whole handful of lollipops, and he grabs all the pens, and they leave. But of course they're upset about it and everything. Desna, she gets slick with some things. She shows up at Dr. Haitian's office, and she's like, she's talking to her, the nurse and everything, and she's like, oh, you're the one, and oh, I'm so happy for you guys. She said, he's not in right now. She said, well, I have a little gift I like to leave for him, something I like to put on his desk, and she said, go ahead, you go on in. And Desna's going through his stuff. She ends up going through his, breaking into his little drawer and finding all his property. This man has millions of dollars worth of property. He owns apartment complexes. He owns golf clubs. He owns condos. He owns hotels. He owns a convention center. Like, he's got major commercial property. So Desna takes pictures of all of the deeds and everything. She gets, I don't know what she cooking up yet. I ain't figured out what she cooking up yet, but she cooking up something. But she's taking pictures of all of this as as she goes through. Now back to Uncle Daddy and the crew. Since the first thing was a bust, the first little place was a bust because it was near school, they decide, you know what? Let's put the clinic, the rehab clinic, near where we popping the pills, so we just had that whole little strip mall on lock. Well, who do they go to? Dun dun dun. They go to Hank. Now, I don't know how Hank is out of jail. Literally, he was just about to kidnap Jen and tried to kill Bryce. I have no idea how he's out of jail, but he is. And he's at his little spot, with his little bingo, passing out. They get ready to do bingo and stuff. And Uncle Daddy is like, so look, this was getting ready to happen. You can ready to sell us your little spot right here, and we already done wrote up the transfer of deed, and we'll give you $25,000. And Hank was like, look, I have absolutely no intention of selling to y'all. Like, I wasn't really ever going to kidnap Jen. Like, I was just tripping. I'm better now. I'm good. I done took my medicine. I'm all great. But, I'm not selling y'all my property. And Roller puts the gun to his head and is like, yeah, you are. Like, one way or the other, we're going to get this property. And he holds out for a minute, but eventually he does end up selling, signing over the deed. He signs the deed. So Bryce comes in while all this is going on. And Bryce is telling them, look, y'all, just leave this dude alone. Like, we just moved on. He trying to be all kumbaya about it. Hank ass. Because Roller was like, after he signed it, Roller was like, all right, we still going to kill you. After what you did to my brother, you got to die. Like, that's it. Like, we gonna kill you. And that's when Bryce was like, look, I don't want that on my conscience. Like, it's over. I don't want no bloodshed. Like, just leave him alone. So Roller's like, all right, if that's what you want. He pulls the gun away. He go Hank, dumbass. Hank gonna say, thank you for forgiving me for eating your wife's sweet pussy. Dude, is you crazy? And you see them snickering, right? You see Uncle Daddy and Roller and the other dude, they snickering, and Bryce is like, they laughing at me. And, like, Bryce is just, he take one of them damn flamingo pins he just took from the daggone bank, and he stabs Hank in his neck. And y'all know that's a major artery. He bleeding everywhere. He got blood on the deed, all of that. Uncle Daddy was like, well, damn, like, warn me next time, because it's blood everywhere. And Hank's dead. So they think that means that Bryce is back in. They like, oh, Bryce, Bryce was like, no, I'm still moving to Tampa. He was like, I don't know where we going to live because we ain't get approved for the loan. But me and my family, like, we're still gone. Like, thank y'all for cleaning, because they done cleaned it up and everything. He's like, thank y'all for taking care of that, but no, I'm not back in. So Uncle Daddy pulls out a brick this thick of money. And he's like, look, the banker, Uncle Daddy, approves you for your loan here. And he gives him the money. And he was like, Uncle Daddy, you don't have to do that. He was like, nah, we family. This is what family does for each other. We're family. And Roller turns around and gives him another brick of money, talking about, bruh, like, we look out for each other. We love each other. So it was a little touching moment. So now Bryce got the money for him and Jen to move away. And now we're back at Polly going to the hospital. So they're all at the hospital waiting to find out, what's going to happen with Polly. And come to find out, Dr. Ken decides that he's going to confess. And he confesses that he was actually wearing the wire. And they're like, what? And they're like, why didn't you? He was like, he was like, they weren't trying to get you. They wanted the Russians. And Desna's like, but why didn't you tell us? Because, if you had told us, we probably could have worked something out. Why didn't you tell us what was going on? But before they could really dig deep into it, the doctor comes out and says, look, she's had a really bad psychotic break. And we're going to keep her for 72 hours. But it's been really bad. And Jen is like, well, at the end of 72 hours, can she come home? And he was like, look, I don't know. We're going to have to run some more tests. And we're going to have to really see, because it's not good, So they go in to talk to her. They make Uncle Ken, they make Dr. Ken stay. They're like, you can't come in. You can't talk. So they run in. They go in to talk to her. And she basically tells them the story of her sister. She said, look, this was my twin sister. We did everything together. She was my best friend. She said, and we used to love to ice skate. And I knew where this story was going when she said ice skate. She said Debbie Thomas, which everybody remember Debbie Thomas. This is the second time I've heard a Debbie Thomas reference in as many days. Because something I watched yesterday made a Debbie Thomas reference. What did I look at yesterday? Something I looked at yesterday talked about Debbie Thomas. But anyway, y'all, if y'all don't know, for y'all young folk, Debbie Thomas was a black ice skater back in the 80s. She was one of the first black ice skaters. She went to the Olympics and she won, I won't say she won a silver or bronze, but she was one of the first black Americans to do it. I think the only black American at that point to do it. But of course, she got a lot of accolades because of it. Anyway, so that's your history lesson for today. But she says that, they went ice skating. The mother told them not to go because the ice was too thin. And they went ice skating anyway, because, that's what kids do. They went ice skating anyway. She said her sister fell through the ice and she couldn't save her, and her sister died. And of course they were like, it wasn't your fault. You can't, you didn't do it on purpose. You couldn't save her. Like, you can't carry that guilt, So all of them leave, and it's just Polly and Desna. And so Polly gives Desna the real story. Because that was part of the story, but that wasn't the real story. So the real story was she caught her sister kissing the boy that she liked. And that she actually pushed her sister into the water and didn't try to save her. And she said, so, basically I killed my sister, pretty much. And Desna was like, look, Polly, she said, who's to say that you could have saved her even if you tried? She said, what if you tried to save her and both of y'all drowned and then pulled both y'all under? Who's to say that she said, but at the end of the day, you're here now and you can't keep carrying that guilt with you. She said, you just have to take just ownership and move on. And she says, we have to just take ownership. She said something to Desna, like, you may never be a bride. Desna was like, yeah. And so, but they're talking, and Desna said, you know what, this whole time we've been running away from the fact that we're criminals. She said, we're criminals. She said, and we're damn good at it. And we need to really just fuck it and embrace who we are. So I guess what she's saying is I'm going to switch my focus from trying to get out to just being good at what I'm doing since I'm in. And the sister disappears. Once she confesses to Desna, the sister is gone. And Desna, is like, look, we about to switch gears on her. We about to change the game because I'm about to just, I'm good at this. I'm really good at manipulating things and being in this business, and that's what we're going to do. Excuse me. So then we see Virginia. Look, I love Virginia, y'all. I love Virginia. I keep telling y'all every episode. So Virginia has cleaned up the hotel room. She's gotten all of Dean's favorite snacks all labeled like he likes it. She done cleaned the mold. She said she cleaned the bathroom all by herself, she said. And just trying to make the hotel room more livable for Dean. So then Desna shows up with a flower. And of course at first Dean is like, what do you want? Why are you here? And she said, Dean, look at me. She said, I understand why you moved out. She said, and that's a good thing. She said, I'm proud of you. And Dean was like, you are? She said, yes. She said, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of what you've done. And, she said, you are not broken. He was like, I ain't broken. What you talking about? He said, my vertebrae is very sturdy, And Dean, in his Dean way. She said, no, I'm just saying, you have done nothing wrong. Like, these are my bad decisions. And you did right to say you had to leave, And I love you and I support you, all that good stuff. So they had a good moment, where and he said, Desna, can I walk you down the aisle since we don't have a father? He said, you still gonna marry the doctor? And she said, yeah. She said, and he knows it's fake. She said, your sister's going to have to put on a hell of a performance tomorrow. And he said, well, can I walk you down the aisle? So they have a good moment. They kind of reconcile. So then we see Polly back at the hospital, and her sister shows up again. And I'm like, well, damn. I thought the sister was gone now that she confessed and got it all off her chest. And the sister said, one last dance. One last True Colors. Because I guess they had this whole choreography to the song True Colors by Cyndi Lauper. And you see the two of them dancing down. And they done got on ballet outfits and stuff. And they're dancing in the hallway of the hospital. And then about halfway through the song, her sister disappears. And it's just Polly by herself. And that's how it ends. So next week is the finale, y'all. And it look like it's going to be a whole bunch of shenanigans going on. So it was a good episode. It gave us, a little more information about Polly and that whole situation and why she was holding on so tight to Marnie. Marnie leaving is what triggered this. I think Dr. Ken leaving would have been okay, but I think Marnie leaving is what really triggered it because she was holding on. That's why she was holding on to Marnie so tight. Anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in them comments. Talk to y'all later. Peace.